fields? What is it sort of everybody wants to know what maybe the secret sauce is to success as a trader, but I'm kind of curious about common characteristics that great traders, elite traders all share with other possibly high level, high performing, performance-based industries and athletes and things like that.
Yeah, no, great question. And the answer is yeah. So I'll give you examples. So high performing athletes, high performing CEOs, high performing surgeons, high performing traders. If there's a common characteristic across every one of them, it's the ability to focus and refocus and refocus and refocus and refocus, bam, 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 over and over and over and over again. And other decent but mediocre athletes, or decent CEOs, or decent traders, or an okay physician, they're not as good as the high performers at doing that. And so I'll give you an example of why I say that. One of the things I've done in the past, I've worked with a bunch of private equity-backed companies. They're under pressure, usually in the C-suite, often with the CEOs. And one of the things that I've done is unobtrusively observe a CEO at work. So a lot of times they have these very nice offices, right? These big, huge, fancy offices. And I go park myself in the corner and just watch them do their job for a couple of days and try to be as unobtrusive as possible so that all of the folks coming in to see him, they might look over and the CEO will notice, just ignore him. He's doing some work for me. Don't worry about it. And so what I noticed over time is that the really good CEO, so think of your CEO, I've done publicly traded companies, private equity-backed companies, big, small, in between. That CEO, somebody's coming into their office for a reason, right? And they've sometimes waited 2 weeks to get in there with something that to them is urgent. So they are ready, they're prepared, and they need that CEO to help them with something. That CEO has got to be able to focus and then refocus on every one of those people walking in and sitting in front of them. And the really good ones are really good at that. And the average ones, they lose their energy. You can see that they're distracted. They're not able to zero back in. Great surgeons, right? If no one's ever been in a surgery center or watched the great surgeons work, it's a little scary, actually, because they go from patient to patient to patient pretty fast. Take a top orthopedic surgeon. You walk into one of their centers, they actually have patients kind of lined up, getting prepped by their staff, and they're going from a knee to a shoulder to a knee to a shoulder, and they're doing their thing, right? The really good ones, when they walk out of that operating room to the next one, their ability to shut down, cross their bridge for a few minutes, and then zero right back in on the next challenge is unbelievable to watch. Like, they are really good at it. Traders, going from trade to trade to trade, day to day to day, focus, refocus, 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 in flow, right? In their zone. Those are excellent traders. That's the common characteristic.
That's interesting because, there's a lot of trading news that comes out, or there's plenty of reasons for traders to get distracted or get significantly emotionally involved in a trade or something they see online and to lose that focus. So I think it's really important for people to hear exactly this, that focus is one of those characteristics that elite level performers in trading possess, and outside of trading as well, as you mentioned.
I'll give you a quick story. One of the traders that I'm working with right now, very, very, very good trader, very successful. But we started talking about, he's at a firm. We started talking about the environment that he was trading in, and was it as good as it could be? Because, like you just described, right? There's distractions, there's call outs, there's things going on where, I was zoomed in on this. Now all of a sudden, what just hit the news, whatever. And so we're working, and it's working well, to help him create a little bit better environment where he can thrive, and he can be surrounded by other traders, actually, that understand how he likes to work, so that he can be really zoomed in and in flow in as much as the day as possible. And he's been able to kind of create that environment for himself, because that's really important. Like, I can give you examples from sports teams about how critical that is, and why why for, let's say, a private equity-backed company, a C-suite becomes really important, because all of that energy flowing around that's either helping or hurting people's ability to perform is really useful to understand.
For, maybe someone who's listening and thinking to themselves, I'm not an elite level trader, or I am not part of the C-suite, I'm not a high performing surgeon. For those traders listening, what's one piece of advice, generally speaking, or one actionable piece of advice that you would give to those traders who might not be at an elite level to start getting towards that path, or maybe get their perspective to shift so that they could absolutely have maybe a better possibility of getting themselves to being successful or maybe elite level? What would you say to those types of traders?
And I should mention that I actually currently work with quite a few of them. So not just the super successful, but some young traders that are growing into the profession. And here's what I would say. I go back to, be a professional. Be a professional. Make a commitment to, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it really well. I'm going to become excellent at it. I want to be one of the best. And therefore, I'm going to do all of the things around the actual trade itself to prepare myself and allow myself and give myself every opportunity to maximize my potential. Right? It's about maximizing your human potential as a trader. And there's a lot of habits of excellence that can be built. But first, there has to be the commitment to excellence and the commitment to professionalism. Otherwise, you will never get there. But even young traders in their first couple of years, they can start, and they should start working on this right away, because I really believe in this concept of habits of excellence. Aristotle said a really, really interesting thing. It's the one saying I have in my office. I have it all over the place. And it goes like this: we are what we continually do. Excellence, then, is not a single act, but a habit.